All right, so now it is time for, I think, my favorite part, sort of my favorite part of architecture. Um, I guess my tie for two is down here in the real concept sketching and making it kind of come alive. I really do like getting a floor plan going, and then I kind of beat my head against the wall when my best laid plans over here don't work or I need to change something, and then um, I get up here, and this is really to me the most fun part because you get to see the house kind of come alive. So um, anyhow, I always start this and I just go to a construction layer, and this is going to be a bunch of line drawing. Okay, and I'm just going to deal with one of these. I could pop vertical lines in all the way across this thing, but I'm just going to deal with one here, and then I'll do possibly another one just to reinforce it, or come back and do one later. Okay, to go over what I did in the last video, I drew, we called this line the ground. Okay, I offset it 6 inches. So this shows the concrete thickness. I decided I wanted to have a 9 foot first floor in my house. So I offset from the top of the concrete 9 feet, which gets me to here. And then this is a board. This is a 2x6 piece of lumber because it's a single story house. So this is what the ceiling attaches to. And so this is the top of that board. So that's another 6 inch offset. Okay. So this is what's awesome about this method of projection. Okay. I'll deal with all these lines sticking out into space later, and you're going to probably be, you might be horrified here to see what happens in a little bit. So I'm going to come here, and I'm going to grab a line. I'm going to stick it on the furthest thing out on the left side of the home, which is the corner of that fascia board. And I'm going to bring it perfectly straight down, parallel to the y-axis, and I don't care about trying to meet it up with the floor or anything. That's why I have the trim tool. That's what can simplify things for me later. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And now this is like a yes or no test. So I'm going to cruise along my house from the left side to the right side, and I'm going to ask myself, would I see it? If I'm standing in front of it, will I see this column? Yes, I will. Will I see this window? Yes, I will. Will I see this sliding door? No, I won't. That's on an adjacent face. So when I copy this, yes, I'm going to see the thickness of the soffit for sure. Okay. This column lines up perfectly with this corner, right? I can check that. So yes, I see the corner of the house or the corner of the column. Okay. I'm going to come over here. Do I see the left side of the window? Yes, I do. Do I see the right side of the window? I sure do. Okay. Did I miss anything? Yep, I sure did, because this is where this bumps out. This is the left corner of that bump out, and this is the corner of that fascia board. Okay, what else do I see? I see the left corner of this bumped out section of the structure. I see the left side of this window. I see the right side of the window. I see the left side of the window and the right. And I keep cruising along. What else do I see here? I see the right side of that wall. And I see the fascia board, which defines the soffit. And I come up here. Do I see anything? Nope, I don't see that sliding door. But I sure do see that door. That's interesting because that looks like it lines up perfectly. So I'm going to have a line on top of a line. And I see the right side of that door. And I see the right corner of the house. And again, that lines up perfectly with this column. So I can use that. And I see the end of the soffit or the fascia board on that far right side. And what you're going to see is you just made yourself the tic-tac-toe board from hell right here, okay? What a nightmare, right? So one thing I'll do here is I'm going to move this up a little closer, okay? And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and simplify life for myself. And I know that I don't have anything here that punches through the uh, the concrete at all, okay? Nothing vertically in the house, no windows or doors or anything else. And I can see the furthest point to the left of the house is this soffit, so I have nothing that punches through out here, okay? And I'm going to just go ahead because I don't have any trimming lines out here. So like if I trimmed this off, it's going to get rid of the whole thing to the right. So I'll just grab a line right here at random and I'll trim these pieces, and I'll leave that alone, or I'll just leave it in place right there. Okay, so the right edge of the house, furthest thing to the right, left edge of the house, furthest thing to the left. Okay, so let's go ahead and smarten up a little bit, see if we can make a little bit more sense out of this. So we're going to color code it. I'm going to go ahead and match properties, and there's a couple ways I can do that. I want to say this is the same as this. This is soffit. So I select it, and what I can do is come down and hit soffit, which I'm counting as my roof right now. The other, to me, the easier thing to do is come up in here and go ahead and use your match properties thing. In AutoCAD 2018 and the previous versions, you have a tab over here that has the color wheel, and it has these two icons, and there's a drop down, and match properties is in there. So you click match properties, and all you have to do is say, okay, like this is a door, so I want to use this as my source. You get a paintbrush. I didn't have to right click or anything, and I click this and this, and those are now doors. Okay, I don't have any other doors in the front of this house that I can see, so I'm good. So I use match properties again. Okay, this is soffit, so I'm going to match both of those. These are soffit. Okay, what about these over here? That is also soffit, and this is where I got a little bit messed up because it's soffit and my door happens to be right on that same exact portion. Okay, and that's not going to matter. We can come back to that. Okay, it's going to be. I'll probably forget something about that. So this is wall. Yes, it's a column, but it aligns with my wall. There's a wall corner right there. Going across, there's a wall corner. Going across, that would also be a wall corner, right? And I'm going to repeat match properties one more time, and I'm going to go ahead and identify my windows. So here's a window, here's a window, here's a window, there's windows, those are windows, and I have no other windows on here. So I should have no yellow lines because I used the construction line to get everywhere. And this should tell me that I've identified every single thing in the structure. Okay. I leave as many of these vertical lines shooting up into space as I can for a little bit, because if I forget or if I make a mistake down here, I can look and I can follow the line and say, what was the source? The source was the window, the right edge. Okay. I'm going to also put these on my roof layer because they are a part of the roof system. Okay. So now when I look at this, I say, okay, what is this space? From the corner of the wall out to this red line, this is soffit, right? Which means the wall is the furthest thing to the right, but the soffit doesn't start until I get way up high above the fascia board. So I think the easiest thing to do is wipe out this. So here's the corner of the wall or the edge of the wall, and here's the overhang. Okay, so what I can do very simply is just trim this out. Get rid of the overhang. So now I have a wall corner, and you can see I have an overhang. Okay, and I can, at that point, erase these. But if I erase them, it's going to take the whole thing away. So I'll just trim them. And I can do the same thing on this side. This is the corner of the wall. The soffit or the roof doesn't come down past the wall. So this right here is a goner. And that should start to simplify the house a little bit from the front. Okay. I have these two little things to get rid of that were on the floor. And let's go back a little bit. Okay. So in this case, I have more soffits to deal with. If I follow along from up here, this was soffit as well. So the soffit doesn't stick down past the wall. So I'm going to trim both of these. Okay. And remember, there is a soffit underneath there. Shoot. So that's the one I didn't that the lines were on top of each other. So I'm going to leave that alone. Okay. And yes, this soffit comes all the way across. And I'm going to come back to this one. And I'm going to trim this soffit right here. And hopefully it's starting to look like a little bit more sense. Here's the wall corner. I come over. There's the soffit. That goes away. And that goes away. Okay. And it still kind of looks pretty spider webby. Okay. I can neaten things up one more time. And I can come down here because nothing sticks into the concrete. But this wall actually is defined. So those windows and doors, they don't stick down into the concrete. So I'm good right there. Okay. So now the thing to do is talk about doors and windows. A standard door is 8 feet, 6 foot 8 inches high, which is 80 inches. And we typically align windows at the same height as the tops of doors. So in this case, I'm just going to use one standard offset, 80 inches from the floor, and I'm going to come up. Okay. In framing, it would actually be a little more because you'd leave a little wiggle room for the door. But in this case, it's fine. Okay. My dimensions would reflect that in the end of the drawing. Okay. So now let's look at this. This is a really easy one to trim. So again, what do I have? Well, between this blue line and this blue line, I have a window. Okay, so I know that these two lines, if this is the top of the window, nothing sticks up above that window. And this is also a window right here. So I know that nothing sticks up above that window. And I'm going to come down to my last window, which is right here. So between these two blue lines, I have a window again. So that's simplified things a little bit. Okay. And over here, okay, I don't have anything here. So this is really the top of the window. And that means that can go away and that can go away. Between these two blue lines is a window. So that goes away. This is the space between the windows. So that goes away. This is the space between the windows. So that goes away. And then if I go over here, what was this one orange line? This was the space between my doors. So I should have another orange line directly under here because that lined up with my soffit. Okay. So in this case, I can come down here, got nothing above there. And so what I'm going to do here is just draw a line again to identify the corner of my door. And you know what I do want to do is offset this because I think that was a 60-inch door. So, yep, this is the one I'm shooting for. Okay. So now I can go ahead and delete that. And that doors, there's nothing that sticks up above it. And now this can go away as well. Okay. So I've identified everything. I don't need that anymore. I can see that this is the right side of my door. I can see that these windows are now defined. I can leave them alone. I can see that these windows are now defined. They can go away. And hopefully you can see that you have this as the bumped out section of your house, which is right here. This is pushed back, which is right here. And this area is pushed back, which is right here. Okay. And again, I don't need anything, right? Nothing sticks up. The wall does not stick up above the soffit or the fascia board. So I can do those trims right there and get these out of the way. Gone. And I can come down here and go ahead and match properties. And I'm going to go ahead and get that. So I've defined my door. And I'm going to match properties again. And define these. And we're good to go. So this has been everything that we need to do, with the exception of putting in window heights. Okay. So I'll come back to that on a third video, or I guess it might be a fourth now. I don't think I'm going to do a video for each one of these offset elevations unless I see something that is fundamentally different. So I'll leave this here. I'll come back and then I'm going to skip on to, I guess I'll finish all of these and then I'm going to skip on to roofs because we do the same thing with the method of projection. The center point of this roof, which is off because it's using this entire line as the midpoint, is right here. And I'm going to need to know that because I'm going to have a roof, right, that's going to come down like this over this portion. So that will be it. And so I'll go ahead and make the rest of these projections and then come back to this one right here.